Hey, in this video we're going to take a look at probing an outside corner with the Mach 4 probing routine. So let's click on the probing tab and get started. In this video I'm using a simple 5-volt signal mapped to the probe in the motion controller and in Mach. And before we get set up to probe the corner, let's take a look at the tab to the far right, the settings tab. Let's click on that and open that up. This is going to allow us to adjust some attributes for all of our probing cycles. So now we have this settings tab open. Let's click on the help button and get the descriptions of the 7 fields shown. First one is the offset number. This is going to be for a height offset that may be assigned to the probe. The G code assignment is G31 through G31.1. We're using the straight probe callout, so we're going to be a G31. The slow feed rate measure is usually for the second hit in any of these probe cycles. It's a slower feed rate. The fast feed rate find will be for the first probe hit, will be a faster feed rate to save a little bit of time in some of these cycles. The retract amount is going to be the amount the probe will retract after a hit. The overshoot amount is an amount programmed for the probe to go past the hit. In position tolerance is a point compared to the program end of the probe move. And all these values that show up in these fields are the default values for Mach 4 probing, which should be fine for us to get started probing our outside corner. So now that we've checked our settings, we can click on the corners tab and set up to probe our outside corner. So we can see that there's 4 fields that show up in the corner probing cycles, which we'll get to in a minute. But first I want to talk about the other 2 windows to the right. The first is the results window, and these all show up as nil values, and it's simply because there hasn't been any probing, and therefore there are no results to show. But there'll be results for X, Y, and Z, error in X, Y, and Z, size and angle X, and angle Y. The next setting I want to talk about quickly are the measurement types, and this is a toggle between measure only and set fixture G54. The first setting is measure only, and this does exactly that. Does the probing cycle as normal, and it just returns the results of that. And this can be used to measure items such as bores, bosses, and or pockets. The second one is the set fixture G54, and this will also return the results, but it will also set a work offset for G54. So at this point I think we're ready to set up the probe. The lower left hand corner of this part that we can see in the picture. You can see the probe is kind of sitting out in space, and that's a position where I want to start probing. If we click on the outside corner probing help, it talks about the X and Y position being absolute. So now that the probe is where I want it to start probing, I'm actually going to set the X and Y 0 here. And what this does is this lets the probing module know which direction that these corners are going to be probed at. So in this particular cycle, both values that are entered in the X and Y position in the DROs are going to be positive. The last 2 DROs are X and Y spacing, and this value in here puts a distance between the 2 hits on each axis during the probing cycle. So I have my X and Y position both at positive 0.300, and also my X and Y spacing at positive 0.300. So my expectation here is that when I hit the measure corner, we'll travel positively in Y, make the first hit, and then travel positive 300 again and make the second hit. We should come back to the start position, positive travel in X with the first hit, and then a positive 300 in X again for the second hit, and then return to start position. So we're going to zero out our X and Y now, because we are ready to probe. We went back to the run screen to do this. Now we'll zip back to the probing. You can see we have the 300, 300, 300, and 300 there. So we are ready, and we're going to measure the corner and see what the results are. And you can see down here we are getting our probe hits, because this LED is actually attached to the probe input. You can see the feed rate changes as well. So we're done, and we can see the results here have all come back, and we have now set a G54 work offset. So I hope this video has shed some light on what users can expect when using the outside corner probing feature in the Mach 4 probing screen. Thanks for watching.